This is the Uptick Newswire Stock Day podcast, sponsored by InvestorsHangout.com and Equities.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube to stay up to date on penny stock news and interviews, public information on OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world. With your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, I'm bringing you a brand new company that myself and my team discovered. We're talking about GFG Resources, Inc. You can find them on the OTCQB down here in the States under the ticker symbol GFGSF. And you can find them up there on the TSX up in Canada under the ticker symbol GFG. And with us today is the CEO and president of the company, Brian Skanderbeg. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Happy to be on the show and introduce an exciting opportunity in GFG and give you a bit of background on us today.
Yeah, please do. So can you discuss your background and why you formed the GFG Resource Company?
Sure. Look, I'm a geologist. I'm an explorationist. And growing up in Manitoba, central Canada, put a lot of time into studying geology and understanding what it takes to make deposits. And from my side, I've been working in this sector for almost 20 years and been involved in some very successful companies, the most recently being Claude Resources, which was acquired for about $350 million in 2015. And, with that success, we really came to the question about what we wanted to do next. And GFG formed out of that real decision. So we structured an exploration company and took it public 2 years ago, really focused on discovery stage opportunities. And we've got a couple of projects, one in Wyoming and one up here in Timmins in Ontario, Canada. And the goal here is really to make the next relevant discovery in the gold space.
The Pen and Dore Gold Project, can you bring us up to speed where you're at on that?
Sure, that's the projects up in Canada. So this would be the Pen and Dore project, and we acquired this land position about a year ago through 3 or 4 transactions. We bought a company and we did 3 other purchase and sale transactions to put together about 700 square kilometers. And just for reference, that's 50 kilometers by 15 kilometers. So it's a big tract of ground in Ontario. We love the geology there. We bought it feeling that it was ripe for discovery, and we've been exploring there for about a year. We're putting our dollars into the Pen and Dore projects this year, and very aggressively drilling a number of regional targets across there. So feel that it's advanced to a stage where we've generated some really quality targets, and we're stepping out to test those. And just yesterday, we put out some of our initial drill results announcing a new discovery on that project. And that's exciting when you can step out as a geologist and generate a concept, put all the work together, permit, and then go and execute it on the ground and make a relevant discovery. And that's what we announced yesterday, was a discovery up at the Dore on the Pen project. And as well, we continue to be very active with an ongoing exploration program throughout this year on that project.
Being an exploration company, there's a lot of challenges and also opportunities in the gold sector. Tell us some of the day-to-day or month-to-month activities that you guys find very challenging.
Yeah, look, it's a cyclical business. And when you work in these businesses, and if you want to build value in these businesses, you have to recognize where you are in the cycle and be bold and be able to react and act. And running a producer, which is what I ran in my previous role with Claude, learned a lot about that sector and the timing of it and how to make and build value for our shareholders. And right now, what you see is in this cyclical space, you're seeing the space has evolved, and it's evolved out of necessity. Walk us back 3, 4, 5 years, and many of the gold companies and producers were struggling, and they were struggling because of undisciplined M&A, and they were struggling because of poor capital allocation and increased debt levels. And ultimately, this drove poor shareholder performance and shareholder returns. And things have changed, and companies are starting to undertake more positive M&As, more accretive M&As. Shareholder returns are much stronger. Shareholders have a much stronger voice. And I think it's creating a healthier space. But what we really see is that there's a lack of growth and a lack of new deposits. And that's ultimately the key with GFG, is that we're looking to fill a void here of finding the next relevant gold deposit. And the challenge of the space is, how do you maintain production and margin levels and show any growth if you're a producer? Well, it all comes down to making a relevant discovery. And there's not enough dollars going into that front end of the space. And that's what we're really focused on. So as a $15 million company, we have amassed some very large tracts of ground both in Wyoming and up in Canada. We've partnered with Newcrest on the project in the U.S. Newcrest is one of the largest Australian gold producers, and they're financing us to do the work. So, finding the challenges in the space, you have to look at them as opportunities. So lack of discovery means there needs to be new discoveries, and you need to have companies focused on doing that, and that's what we're doing. So we're focused on the exploration space. We're partnered with best in class, and we're advancing both our projects very aggressively in 2019.
The project in Casper, Wyoming, when I think of Casper, Wyoming, I think about riding a horse, fishing and stuff like that. Gold doesn't come to my mind.
Yeah, no, look, it's a jurisdiction that's ranked number in the top 10 in Fraser Institute. People think about it from cattle and oil and gas and wide open spaces. But there is some relevant production historically of gold in Wyoming, and I see it as very much a good opportunity to make a discovery there. And we're looking at an alkaline gold system in Wyoming. We've got about 135 square kilometers under control with a couple of deposits that exist on there. And most importantly, we've brought in best-in-class partners, and they've negotiated a JV, and we formed a JV with Newcrest, and it would involve spending about $100 million over the next 10 years to see them earn 75% of that project. So we've de-risked it financially in terms of how we advance the project. We've partnered with best-in-class, and now we're aggressively stepping out to undertake an exploration program looking for growth on that property and finding a new deposit. And Newcrest is really focused on looking at bulk tonnage underground. And what do I mean by that? They want to mine 500,000 ounces a year from a big underground mine because that's what they need to be relevant. And they see that opportunity in the system there. So look, we've brought in a great partner. We've designed the program, and that program is going to kick off here in July of this year, 2019. We'll spend about $3 to $3.5 million US with Newcrest funding us in Wyoming this year. So it's a big project for GFG, and it pairs well with what we have up in Timmins. And if you looked at us corporately, this company will spend around $6 million US this year for a 15 million market cap company. And we're funded to do that, and we've partnered with best in class. So that's how you make discoveries. You be aggressive. You take advantage of the cycle, and that's really what we've set ourselves up to do this year.
That being said, what should investors and non-investors be excited about your company?
If you want to unlock value in this space, you have to be newsy and creating catalysts. And catalysts that can gain you shareholders, build value, and ultimately unlock net asset value. So if you looked at what we have going on this year, it's aggressive exploration at both of our programs. It's continuous news flow, and the pairing of the two projects, I think, is done very well and intentionally, in the sense that we can push forward in the Canadian project as we are right now in the first half of this year, which will be generating some relevant news and discoveries. And in the second half of this year, we step it up in Wyoming with Newcrest. So what I would think shareholders need or be excited about this year is we've just announced the discovery. We have ongoing exploration programs and follow-up programs on that discovery, which will yield very, very relevant news flow and continued positive drill results. And then we're pairing it with what we're going to ramp up on the U.S. I would highlight that we're fully funded to execute the programs as we sit right now, and that's key in this space. Technically, I think the chart looks very good, and we're seeing increased investor interest in the name. And you have a very highly credible management team with a track record of building value. I could reference our board of directors, where you've got 4 gold CEOs who have all discovered, executed, and built value over the last 3 or 4 cycles on our board of directors. So you're investing in a very credible team that I think from a timing perspective is very good in 2019.
My guest has been Brian Skanderbeg. He is the CEO and president of GFG Resources. I want to thank you for coming on the show. You can find them on the TSX up there in Canada under the ticker symbol GFG, also on the OTCQB under the ticker symbol GFGSF. Brian, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on the show. Hopefully you become a regular, come back on the show 40 or 50 days and give us an update.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I look forward to catching up with you guys in a few months.
This program is entirely sponsored and produced by Uptick Newswire LLC, which is responsible for the content. The opinions and information provided on this program are those of the guests and those of the respective companies they represent, and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of Uptick Newswire. Uptick Newswire encourages all listeners of this program to do their due diligence and research when determining investment strategies that will work for them, or to seek the assistance of an investment professional. The guests of this program may have paid for its distribution and are not directly affiliated with Uptick Newswire or this station.